We are really excited about joining Crime Stoppers in a more formal arrangement. And this all came about because of a circumstance that happened at the Steve Irwin Wildlife Reserve at the end of July when we were doing our annual crocodile research work. And I know you were involved in the gruesome discovery that led to this all transpiring.
Yeah, so what we actually found, we were out on the Wenlock River on a really remote upstream section, actually setting up the crocodile traps that we use. It's the exact same style that my dad came up with to actually catch these crocs, attach the different tracking devices to them, let them go again and learn about them, all for crocodile conservation. And while we're on the river, we see in the distance a dead croc floating down the river. It was incredibly sad to see, but what made it even more devastating is when we actually examined it and found a very clear gunshot straight through its head. For us as wildlife conservationists, it is just heartbreaking to see something like this. A beautiful little 8-year-old crocodile, little 7-foot male just starting his life. To see him dead was really, really sad. And so that was really the spark for us. We wanted to do something not only for him, but also for the many animals every year that unfortunately suffer.
So I had the great idea, being a mother, of rewarding good behavior. So through Crime Stoppers, rewards can be offered for people who are anonymously coming forward to tell us about a crime that may have been committed. And wildlife crime is something that we are seeing on the increase. Here at our wildlife hospital, we're seeing animals that are hit by crossbows, that are shot, that are attacked. We just had a scrub turkey come in recently that someone broke its wing and its leg and spray painted it pink. Just these terrible things that are done to wildlife. And when this happened to a crocodile, we said, let's reward someone who comes forward. And if the person who committed this crime is prosecuted, we're going to offer a $10,000 reward. And Robert said, awesome. Who's putting up that money? And I said, well, son, let's start with your piggy bank. But it led to a conversation about working with Crime Stoppers and a reward system statewide. So what we're going to do is offer a $1,000 reward statewide for anyone who comes forward to help solve the crimes of wildlife harm. So if something illegal is done to an animal and the person can be prosecuted, then there will be a reward paid. And I think this is a really good relationship because in this day and age, in the middle of a pandemic where we all carry our masks with us, we feel like we're kind of out of control. But as a community, this gives back a sense of control, a sense that you can do something to help your community. And we've discovered through countless research, I know a paper was just published last year, spearheaded by Washington State University, and the Washington University work indicated that when crimes are committed against animals, it is very likely there will be crimes committed against people as well. So we see direct correlations with domestic violence and crimes against people. So we want to start nipping this. We want to stop this. We want to see our wildlife treated with respect. So when I called Carmen with Crime Stoppers, she was very helpful and very eager to put this system into place. So now we're making the formal announcement and this system will go forward. And how cool is it that you can remain anonymous, you can do something positive, and you can take back a little control and a little positivity in your community?
Oh, I think it is absolutely disgusting. I think that for me, of course, I've got a soft spot for every animal, but particularly for crocodiles. And I think that what really hits home is the fact that with the crocodile research work that we do, it's to continue my dad's mission and to see the animals that he loved so much and that I love so much, in a state like that, it really broke my heart. And the whole team really hit us to the core, especially because this animal was likely shot during the night. And crocodiles, when they have an eye shine, when they have a spotlight on their eyes, they actually go into kind of a state of torpor. they sit there almost like they're hypnotized, and you can get really, really close to them. So this was someone who would have been within a few meters of this croc. This beautiful little croc would have been looking him right in the eye, and they put a bullet straight through its head. And I think that for me, it made me so emotional, very sad and frustrated, but also at the same time, it really solidifies why we do what we do and why this work is so important. Because unfortunately, for animals like crocodiles, they're not quite as cute and cuddly as koalas, but it's just as important that we protect them. They're a keystone species. They sit at the top of the food chain. If we lose crocodiles, everything else underneath them will start to degrade. So I think that, out of respect that everything that Dad stood for and that everything we're trying to continue, to not only find out who committed this heinous crime, but also other crimes just like this, it's going to be so important for wildlife across our state. And it really makes me feel so good and so happy that something can be done for this, because it was absolutely heartbreaking. And it just really, it makes me sad that there are still people like this in the world that would see an animal like this and decide to end its life. But, it's why we do what we do, is to make sure these animals are taken care of. And an animal like the saltwater croc, my dad's favourite, it definitely hit home. It definitely is, yeah. Even at our Australia Zoo Wildlife Hospital, where we're standing right now, we do see quite often just this misconception with all animals, but particularly with reptiles. The dangerous venomous snakes, people will see them and there's that instant thought of just kill it, get rid of it. And it's often this unfortunate generational thing that's just been really ingrained in all of us. But it's so sad to see. Snakes are actually great to have around. They're perfect for pest control. We've got a lot of snakes just wild living in our backyard. But if for some reason you do need to remove them, you can call us, you can call people. There are people, this is what we do, is go out and remove these animals. And of course, if you do find one injured, please give us a call. We've got a rescue team that's on call 24/7 every single day, and the Wildlife Hospital is open through all hours, and we'll do everything that we can to protect these animals. But yeah, it is a very important point that you raise. Of course, our icon species like kangaroos and koalas, they are just incredible and so vital. But even though you can't go up and give a snake a cuddle, it doesn't mean you have to kill it. And if you're afraid of snakes, the easiest thing to do is just leave them be. Just keep a bit of space.
Absolutely. So we're encouraging people with summer coming that if you see a snake, just separate yourself from the snake. Also to keep in mind, statistically, 90% of people who are bitten by snakes were either trying to catch or kill the snake. So if your snake knows if you're running at it with a shovel what's going on. So the other thing is to not try to interfere with the snake, and then also to seek help if you need help with relocating the snake. If we could have more businesses getting involved with providing sponsorship for reward systems in the event of particular crimes, it would be great. And with us working with Crime Stoppers in Queensland, there is the opportunity for other zoos and businesses to work across the country in providing the same kind of sponsorship. And it is important. It is that ethos of encouraging good behavior, doing the right thing, and you should be rewarded for it. And I think a nice $1,000 pat on the back for doing the right thing is something that should be inspiring to other businesses.
I mean, in terms of conservation in Australia, who better to work with than the Irwin family and Australia Zoo, whose integrity and dedication and commitment to this cause is true and plain for everyone to see. And for Crime Stoppers Queensland, working with people with that kind of integrity and dedication and commitment is a blessing, and we welcome it with open arms, because wildlife crime is a crime. Every native species in Queensland is protected. And so when people are violating these animals, they are committing a crime. And we're asking people to come forward with what they know and to share their information that might lead to the arrest of people who are perpetrating these crimes. Sadly, no, at Crime Stoppers, we're not hearing a lot about wildlife crime. So that's part of the impetus to announce this partnership today. This year to date, we've only had 61 reports through Crime Stoppers of wildlife and environmental crime. It's not enough. So we're asking people to identify that, this is something that ought to be reported, that Queensland's environment is worth protecting, and you can report anonymously through Crime Stoppers, and you can collect your reward anonymously through Crime Stoppers. So we have systems in place that allow people to, whether they're phoning 1800 333 000 or whether they're reporting online at crimestoppers.com.au, they can provide all the information that they have relating to any particular incident without providing any identifying information. So we have no way of tracking who they are. We have a system of allocating rewards based on an identifying number, a unique number, and people can collect that reward through their nearest bank. So it's not our first rodeo, so we know how to do these rewards anonymously and do them in such a way that we'll try and attract as much information and as much reporting as possible. Yeah, that's right. I think, some of the time people perhaps don't know where to report. So Crime Stoppers can take any type of report related to any type of crime or suspicious activity. You don't have to wait for the crime to have been committed before you can report the information to Crime Stoppers. And so whether it's wildlife crime or any crime that, we're more used to associating with Crime Stoppers, call us up, let us know. And because you don't have to identify yourself, you can take away that the discomfort that comes with getting involved, so you don't have to identify, and so just tell us what you know. I mean, I can't speculate about what goes through people's minds, right? But we do hear about, kangaroos being culled from rural properties, so perhaps people have associated, that understanding with, maybe a misperception or misconception that culling kangaroos or, indeed culling any native animal is not such a big deal. But even the slaughter of a single animal in a delicate ecosystem can have long and dire consequences for that region. So we're Queenslanders. Come on, let's protect our own backyard. Yeah, so the partnership that we're signing up to is for 12 months with options. So, we're hopeful that by providing these rewards through Crime Stoppers, that will incentivise Queenslanders to report more information. So if we can generate better results and better outcomes for Queensland's wildlife, then that would be a great incentive to perpetuate the program.